Like, subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos from PH and Learn. For more videos, download our app from the Play Store.
Hello guys, welcome to PH and Technology Private Limited. Today we are going to learn about functions. Now we all know that these functions are a very important topic for any programming language. But what these basically functions are? Now let's see. Let's assume we all know that each single flats in a building we have flats, right? So consider these are my flats. I have here 6 flats, right? And now from these flat only a whole building forms. See, the building is formed here. So what happened is this building consists of individual flats, and then through that individual flats this complete building forms. So similarly in coding also functions does the same thing. In programming language, functions is nothing but a basic building block of any program. Now let us consider that I have 1000 line of code. Okay, there I want to add 2 numbers at an interval but multiple times. Firstly, what I will do, what will be my procedure? Firstly, I will take the input from user, then I will scan it, then I will print a printf statement. This is my complete procedure for addition of 2 numbers, right? So once I have done it, once the condition is satisfied. But again, what I want in a certain interval, I want this code multiple times. So now what I have to do, I have to write this 4 lines or 5 lines code multiple times in my code, right? So now let's consider I want this addition 10 times. So will you write every time these 5 lines code, will you write 10 times? No, it will become tedious, right? So for this tedious process, functions are used. How these functions work is, once you declare a function, there for example sum, there you have given the code of sum of 2 numbers, and you have printed a printf statement. Now whenever you want this addition code, you just have to call the function, that is sum. That's it. This is how the functions reduces our efforts, and hence it gives the features of reusability and modularity, right? Once we have declared it, then we can use that function multiple times in my code, in my 1000 lines of code, anywhere, right? So this is why functions are used. Now let's see an example over here. This is my screen. Now hash include, firstly declare header files, right? stdio.h. Okay. Then void main. Let's work with void today. Okay, void main. Then leave this. We have used void, then we don't have to use a written statement, right? Now construct a sum here, that is my function over here. Now write the code over here. Let's say int a is equal to 10, then b is equal to 30. Printf addition is %d. Okay, here a plus b, then semicolon. So now what will I do? I have created a function. Sum is my function, and there I have written the code of addition. Now I want to call this, right? So where I will call this? I will call this inside the int main, because we have studied that main is my starting point of my code. So whenever the compiler will run the code, it will start from the main, right? And in which sequence the function is written, it will execute in that sequence. Okay, so I will call sum, then bracket. I have called it. Let's save it. Now, is my code complete? Let's see. Let's run this code. See. Here, it is giving me warnings that the implicit declaration of sum. See, every time it is giving me error, it is giving me warning on sum function only. That means something is wrong with my sum function only. Each and every code is right, but my sum function is missing something. So now what is it is missing? Let's see. See, your functions, whenever you are calling a function, whenever you are declaring a function, there are few aspects of your function, and these aspects are: firstly, you have to declare a function, then you have to call a function, and thirdly, you have to define a function. Okay, now see, in void main function, I have called the function and I have written the body of the sum function. I have written the body, that is the addition code. That means I have defined the function also. What I haven't done is my first step. I haven't declared the function, and that is why it is giving me an error. Okay, so here you first and foremost thing, you have to declare your function over top of the main. Why we have to declare? This is your declaration part. Declaration. This is your calling part, and this is your definition. So these are some factors, these are some aspects which you have to follow while working with functions. If you didn't follow, then it will give an error, just like I have got right now. Now let's run this code. See, now directly it is giving me an output without any warning, right? So now see, why I have declared a function over there? Because your code, whenever you are compiling it, your program should know how many functions you have used in your program. What are the names of those functions? And that's the reason, firstly, we have to declare any function, then you have to call the function. Where will you call the function? In the int main. Why? Because int main is your starting code of your starting step of your program. And later on, you have to define it. Defining means what? Writing the code of that particular function. Writing the body of that particular function. So these are the aspects you have to follow while considering a function. Okay. Now, let's say I have written over here, before the calling the function, I have written printf before the function is called. Let's say I have given a printf over here. Save this code and let's see the output now. Now see. Okay, I will give a new line over here so that it will be readable. Now see, this is your output over here. Firstly, it has given me before the function is called, and then the series goes on to the sum function. It is executed whatever is in the sum function. Why is it so? Why not before sum? Because that's what the series I have written in my code. Firstly printf, then I have called the function, right? while explaining the function, I have told you that main function will execute the function in the sequence which it is written in, right? So here also I have written this sum function below the printf function, right? So therefore printf will be come to the output first and then sum. Now let's see how this sum works actually, how this function works actually, right? So let's just consider this is my main function, okay? So we all know that this main function is my starting point, right? So what does the code does? It will first go to the main, and inside the main it is seeing a printf, right? It is seeing a printf first, so it will execute the printf. See, here I am getting the output, right? In printf I have written before the function is called. So here also in output screen also I have got that, okay? The first sequence is done. Later on it goes down and it saw the sum function. See, here is my sum function. Now here in the sum function, it finds the sum function, and the moment it got the sum function, it will go inside it. Firstly, which function there is variables over there. Then I have given a printf over there. See, printf, and there what I have given, addition is a plus b, that is 40. So that will get executed over in my output screen. Right now, again, if this main it will go below. So there the curly braces is closed. There is nothing. So now the program is done. So this is how your function works. It works sequentially in the int main or void main function. Okay. Now in functions also there are two types. One is library functions and second is user defined functions. Okay. Now these library functions are printf, scanf, main, square root, etc. Means these are my functions which are already defined in my compiler. Right? This printf and scanf, where are they defined? In my header file, that is stdio.h, right? And similarly, the square root function is defined in my math.h header file. So what does it mean? That these are my functions. Library functions are the functions which are already defined by my compiler, which are already there itself. Okay. Now, second type are my user defined functions. These are some functions, for example, in this code, right now in this code, that was sum. Why? Because that was the function which I have declared. The compiler wasn't knowing what is sum. I have declared the function and I have write the code in that. So that is what the user defined functions. Okay, these are the two types of my functions. Now every time remember that after a word, let's say add, here add, and then I have double circles, that is bracket, right? Add and bracket. Then here what happens, any word which is followed by these double brackets means that is a kind of a function. That is my function, because the functions are followed by brackets. Like printf, then bracket, scanf, then bracket, main, then bracket, sum, then bracket. Every time we have used bracket, that means the functions are mandatorily followed by brackets, opening and closing brackets. Okay, so this was all about what are functions and why you use it and what are the types of it. So this was your today's session. We have learned all about functions, why it is needed and everything. Okay, so we will end here. in the next lecture, in the next session, we are going to learn more about functions. What are the different aspects, what are the different parameters of functions? Okay. So for now, goodbye. See you in the next session. Thank you.
For more videos, download our app from the Play Store.